Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our interview with Jeremy Cordon. Jeremy is the president and founder of Goldback, Inc., which is the world's first physical interchangeable gold money for any size transactions. Jeremy, thank you for joining our Risk Management Show podcast today.
I appreciate being here.
Thank you. Thank you. Jeremy, could you tell us a short story about your career path, what brought you to where you are right now, and what you guys at Goldback are up to these days?
You know, I've just always been fascinated with precious metal. I researched it quite a bit when I was in college, and I ended up partnering with the guy that wrote the Utah Legal Tender Act. The whole point of that bill that got passed in Utah was to make gold and silver easier to use as money. And we've been working away at that ever since. The Goldback is just the latest iteration of that. It's a physical currency. So I'll show you one since we've got feed here. But
nice.
For thousandth of an ounce. What?
Thousand funds, right?
Yep, 1,000th of an ounce. So if you have 1,000 Goldbacks, you have an ounce of gold, and people will carry these in their wallets and they will spend them at local businesses.
Fascinating. So I believe that we will have a very thoughtful conversation on the topic of why bank runs and failures cause a run on gold and silver. And we will discuss also what is your solution proposes to people who want to transact in banks. So as you know, in the last month, the global banking system kind of fell apart, and two US banks collapsed, Silicon Valley Bank and Signature Bank, and also Swiss banks, like banking giant like Credit Suisse was bought for a fire sale, I think about 3 billion of USD. And just recently, just this week or last week, First Republic, based in San Francisco, reported that it lost about 72 billion in deposits for the first quarter. So during this time, gold prices kind of rose substantially due to this banking panics. So as more people realize that they need to diversify where they store their wealth, the precious metals industry is predicting a large influx. So, Jeremy, can you tell us what do you see in your market, in the market of your, because you are busy with the precious metals? How does it play in your market, in your space?
You know, I'd say that ever since Silicon Valley Bank had problems, we've seen a huge surge of interest in precious metals. Some of the dealers that I'm talking to, they're saying that these have been the busiest 2 months that they've seen in 34 years. So right now it's really tricky to get a hold of precious metals if you're looking for it. To answer your earlier question, I think the reason why people are flocking to precious metals is because it's perceived as a safe haven. You know, if you go to the bank and you stick in $1 million for your company, you know, they might give you 1% on it, right? You know, 1 or 2%. And that's kind of a raw deal if, you know, inflation is 6 to 8%. But people pay for that for the convenience. You know, it's convenient having money at the bank. It's convenient to be able to access it and use it as an operating account. A lot of people don't really realize how much risk they're taking on in exchange for that 1 to 2%. Now, in this case with Silicon Valley Bank, you know, the government came in or the FDIC and they bailed out everybody, so nobody lost on it. But what that really does long term is it devalues the dollar, right? So all those holdings that you have, you know, we have company holdings at Goldback, and we're avoiding putting too much into dollars because, you know, that can lose value really quick. Now, as far as gold, and you know, something that makes Goldback really different than, say, you know, owning coins or bars or anything like that is, you know, we're seeing, you know, a few corporate accounts where they're buying Goldbacks, they're leasing them back to our company, and they're actually getting a return on their gold in gold. So, you know, it works more like a CD or a bond.
Mm-hmm. So it's similar that we have in the crypto space with all this fintech loan of bitcoins and Ethereum kind of this earnings scheme, right?
You know, people make a few comparisons between Goldback and cryptocurrency just because they're both not dollars, I suppose. But gold's been around for a long time. You know, we've had gold a lot longer than we've had dollars. You know, cryptocurrency, the value is primarily driven by scarcity and utility and yeah, speculation, I guess. You know, you've seen, you know, 5 or 6 or 7, 80% collapses in Bitcoin. And Goldback is, you know, by comparison, a lot more steady. You know, we've got, you know, these guys, you know, and they've doubled in price since 2019, you know, but a lot of that just reflects the dollar getting weaker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as a risk management, people may see a chart of gold, and they can see, for example, I believe that from 2011 till 2016, gold, I think, was half value, because the last gold maximum was in 2011, I think. We still didn't reach the gold maximum price. So there are periods that
I don't know if that's right. I think we hit over $2,000 an ounce on gold recently.
yeah, but we hit 2000, but we still didn't breach it. I think the maximum that one was about 11 years ago or something like this. But I will have to check
I'll have to check the
chart.
price too. You got me wondering now.
But yeah, of course, now the trend is up. It's certainly because if we see on the trend which started, I think 3 or 4 years ago, with the gold is trending certainly up. So maybe people are just realizing that the market is up to change something, and we see a lot of inflation in both United States and Europe. So maybe it's good time for gold. But normally people used to have coins and bars, but then now we have this Goldbacks. It's something new. Is it a legal tender in Utah or other countries, states in the United States?
You know, that's a good question. Being legal tender is really relevant when it comes to paying taxes. You know, what you're really asking is, can you roll up to the government and pay your taxes with Goldbacks? And, you know, in some states you can, in Utah you can. I don't know if there's anybody that's actually doing that. You know, and from a risk management perspective, a lot of individuals are buying Goldbacks because, you know, they're starting to see their dollars as risky, right? And, you know, but you might say, well, why not just buy coins and bars? I mean, that's what we've been doing for a long, long time. And well, you have to think about that. You have to think, okay, if something really happened to the dollar where you couldn't take your dollars and spend them very easily, or they lost 90% of their value, or maybe you have a situation that's hyperinflationary. Maybe you're losing, you know, 50 to 70% of your value every week with dollars. A lot of people own gold kind of just in case of that scenario, right? But what are you going to do with your gold coin or your gold bar? They're too valuable to spend. A gold coin's worth $2,000.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're gonna do a $2,000 transaction. Oh, and by the way, you know, our market is getting flooded with fake coins and bars from China. You know, they've got tungsten centers and they're difficult to detect. So even if you had two people that had a transaction that was worth $2,000, both people would have to be 100% confident that the gold was authentic. You know, so it becomes really problematic in terms of actually using gold as money. And that's where we're seeing a lot of the demand for Goldback. You know, people are buying these because we've got, you know, 5 different denominations. The one I showed you, this is 1,000th of an ounce, has a 1 on there. Well, this one's got a 5. It has 5 times the amount of gold in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth 5 times as much, you know, same premium. So people are getting these things, and the idea is that they can use them in lieu of cash. And there's people that are using them now. You know, we're seeing transactions happening all over the world in Goldbacks because, in essence, it's an inflation-proof cash. So that's why people are buying it. It has a little bit more utility than just coins or bars.
Yeah, I understand. That's why in the previous situation, in the old situation, they use normally silver as a kind of exchange, small exchanges, and the gold more like insurance if something goes wrong. And I believe that your solution is what is the technology? What is the technology that underlines your solution?
So this is vacuum deposition technology. It's the same technology that puts a layer of gold and microchips in, say, your cell phone, right? Or your laptop, or in the computer chips in your car, or a layer of gold in a space helmet or sunglasses if you're Oakleys. So you've got a layer of gold, and it gets sprayed through this process where you have a vacuum, you have a target that's getting hit with the laser, and you have small gold particles coating this polymer. And then it gets sandwiched in with another polymer, creating this negative image on the back. And it's about as high tech of a process as you have for precious metals. I would say this is the most advanced commodity money that's ever existed. And because of that, because of the difficulty of making this thing, we've never seen a counterfeit. And that's a big deal, if you're worried about, because you'll see counterfeit, currency and cash and counterfeit gold, but you've never seen a counterfeit Goldback. We think we're about 10 years ahead of the counterfeiters. And, we're even looking at adding security features onto the back of a Goldback to authenticate them with your cell phone, just to stay ahead of these guys.
Yeah, it's difficult to make a counterfeit because the value of one Goldback is approximately what, $5 or something, $4?
Yeah, it's worth about $4. So for us, it costs. If we made this thing any thinner, you'd be able to see through it, right? Most things that are worth $4 aren't even worth counterfeiting. But also, if you want to counterfeit a Goldback, you're looking at $2 to $5 million worth of machinery and about 2 decades of know-how in terms of being able to pull that off.
Wow. So you have a patent or something like this?
Oh, there's quite a few patents. Yeah, there's probably, I would say there's 67 different patents right now.
Wow.
But a lot of things are also just trade secrets, so
Wow.
it's a little bit more valuable.
Wow. So no, it's not possible that any other company based on such technology will pop up in Europe or somewhere in Australia and start doing something like this.
Not anywhere in the West. I think you could probably find a Chinese company that wants to do something similar, but it's not going to be as advanced or as nice.
Wow, it's strong. So maybe you can talk to guys from Venezuela or Zimbabwe, and I think they will be quite interesting too, because their currency quite depreciated seriously.
Can you imagine running the central bank in Venezuela or Zimbabwe? Really, a central bank anywhere, your currency is backed by, faith and trust and credibility. And, at the end of the day, the underpinnings of the currency in Venezuela and Zimbabwe isn't that different than developed countries, where these aren't commodity monies, these are fiat currencies. And, a lot of people speculate that they're going to have the same future. Whether that's in, 10 years or in the next 20 years, there's no guarantee that the dollar or the euro keep their value long term. So, yeah, I think, Zimbabwe, they just launched a gold digital currency that was in the news a few days ago. But, that requires everybody in their country to have cell phones and to trust a central location. I think this technology that we're seeing with Goldback is inevitably going to get popular in these countries that are trying to go back to using gold because every other option has failed.
Yeah, and certainly in Zimbabwe they have a lot of gold, I think, in this country. And Venezuela, they cannot print oil, but maybe they can do it in exchange for gold. So, for example, how it will this will be helpful for average risk manager? Of course, we are talking about from the banking perspective, but what can a risk manager takes? What does he think he can take from this, from
You
your
know, a lot
product?
of, no, for sure. You know, and a lot of this is individuals, you know, they're switching out their coins and bars, they're getting gold backs. You know, if you're a risk manager and you've got $500,000 at a bank and you're making, you know, 1 or 2% on it, we do have a program where in essence you can buy a giant pile of gold and get a return on it because we borrow it from you. And we do
Oh,
that to make more gold backs. We do it to expand our inventory. And right now, I want to say it's this very small program. We've only got maybe $18 million in it. But it's also very liquid, you know, and the spreads are very tight. So, you know, that could be something that makes sense if you have excess capital that you're worried about and, you know, don't have a lot of confidence in, you know, leaving it in treasuries or something else.
mm-hmm. And what is so if you actually you can go with this gold backs in Utah and also in other places, and what is the
Sure.
acceptance rate? So you will see on the cashier along with Visa and credit card also your mark, like we accept gold back, or how does it
Sure.
work?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. You know, we've got quite a lot. You know, in fact, we have 5 businesses in Utah that accept goldbacks for every 1 business that accepts Bitcoin.
Wow.
And what we're finding is that the acceptance rate, when you actually talk to a small business owner directly, we're finding that about half of small business owners are willing to take payment in gold. And that's not unique to Utah. You know, people are taking these goldbacks and they're spending them all over the world, you know, because what's your downside? You know, you're transacting in gold and it's only, you know, had a history of appreciation. So, you know, we are seeing an uptick in people using it. Our biggest challenge as a company is just making enough of these things. You know, we have a hard time just keeping up with demand. You know, the demand for inflation-proof currency has turned out to be enormous.
Yeah, it looks sounds fantastic. Yeah, specifically for this time of when we have inflation period. So, but when we speak with regards to legality, of course, you're not legal person. You're a business owner. What is the main challenges? How can you kind of widen reach of this product?
You know, for us, it's just we've been investing heavily in increasing production. We've been buying out our manufacturing company. We've been adding machines. You know, last month, you know, just to give you an idea, you know, between 2019 and 2022, you know, we sold about $50 million worth of goldbacks. In 2022, we were like 0.3% of the US gold market. So, you know, pretty small. But coming into 2023, we sold $6 million worth of goldbacks in the month of March. You know, so we're really seeing kind of that, you know, hockey curve growth.
No.
Um, the hockey stick growth. Did I say hockey curve? The hockey stick growth of, you know, sales and the business in general.
Mhm. So I know I didn't hear in Europe about it, but actually, is it possible to buy it in a local kind of gold shop along with gold bars and gold coins, or is it not available in Europe?
You know, I think we have 1 or 2 dealers in Poland. And that's pretty new. I mean, that's only happened the last couple of weeks, but they can't even keep them in stock. And you got to keep in mind that in Poland, I mean, these are written in a different language, you know,
Mm.
for some faraway place. But you know, people love the concept, and you know, it's proven to be popular. I'm sure we'll make a kind of a more of a European-oriented product at some point too.
All right, very interesting. So where do you think that this whole market is heading? What are the trends in this space, and what should we expect from you guys in the future?
You know, I think you could expect to see more goldbacks in more places. You know, right now we're selling on 3 different continents. But again, I think the Goldback is going to be popular everywhere, so I think you're going to see a proliferation of this technology as we're able to expand production. Because I don't think the currency problems, the inflationary problems, some of these banking issues are going away. And as people look for safety, they're not just looking for gold or silver, they're looking for something that's, very transactable. And, by the way, I'm bullish on silver. I think it's an undervalued industrial metal, but there are not the above ground reserves of silver anymore to really be used as money. If that kind of demand hit silver, it wouldn't be cheap enough to use as change for gold anymore. But, really the Goldback, it's, you can get a loaf of bread, you can get a dozen eggs, you get a cup of coffee with a Goldback. And gold's never done that before. That wasn't even the realm of silver. That was more the realm of copper. So it's replacing these other industrial metals as a monetary metal.
No, fantastic. Yeah, I heard about the project that they put kind of digital gold. So you put some digital gold, and then you were able to kind of pay with a fraction of your gold deposit, and that will deduct from your gold. I'm not sure how it works, but I heard this project.
Yeah, it exists. If you go to Alpine Gold, in fact, you can research any of these things on goldback.com. But there are companies that offer vaulted accounts in Goldbacks, and you can transfer that from, one person to another. And I think we'll see more digital projects in the future with Goldback, where you'll have, more gold-backed cryptocurrencies using the same technology.
Yeah. There's some people don't want to get to even close to this CBDC money, right? Because some countries are trying to get to digital currency. I think Nigeria tried. I was not sure was it successful. Then Russia will try next year, and we probably will have a lot of kind of bad implication for people trying to be free in this world.
Yeah, I think there's a huge privacy concern there, and a lot of the people that are really worried about the central bank digital currencies, a lot of them aren't huge fans of fiat currency anyway. I mean, they're lamenting the loss of cash, but cash is losing value. And really a lot of those same folks are finding a home with Goldback because, again, you've got inflation proof cash, and it protects your privacy. If you own Goldbacks and you make a transaction with one of these, the only people that know about that transaction are the people that you let know about that transaction, just like cash. And that's really appealing for people that are concerned about privacy. So you're absolutely right.
So interesting. I have some more question. Let me think because it's kind of new
Sure.
concept for me. And of course, we have been working with other kind of providers of gold and silver. I think are just regular shops that they do just say safe, right? Safe. They keep your money or gold,
Sure.
or they sell to you. But I never heard about this fractional gold technology. So
Well, we are seeing a lot more dealers carrying Goldbacks. We're a wholesaler. I don't sell Goldbacks directly to consumers. I sell them to precious metals dealers that then sell them to people. And right now we have over 100 clients, including a lot of the really big bullion dealers like Money Metals or JM Bullion or APMEX. Your SD Bullion. A lot of them sell Goldbacks, and I think that over the next year or two, you're going to see even more bullion dealers selling Goldbacks. I think it'd probably be everybody if we had more to sell, but we're limited in our supply still.
Yeah,
And you're right, it's a very new thing. There's a lot of people, they've been selling gold, bars and coins for 40, 50 years. And in the gold space, this is brand new. I mean, Goldbacks have only been out since 2019. And, that year, I mean, they were very small, it was a very obscure thing. So it's a new thing for the precious metal space for sure.
All right, fantastic. So if we summarize this interview, if someone who is listening would like to walk away with one or two major takeaways, what would that be?
You know, Goldbacks are a nice alternative to being able to have a private transaction with a money that keeps its value. This is a new technology. It's very cutting edge, and it's growing. You know, that'd probably be my first takeaway. And then the second takeaway is, you know, you want to be wise with, I guess, where you store your money, and you want to, you know, diversify and find places where you can manage your risk appropriately.
All right. Fantastic, Jeremy. Those were all my questions. If I forgot to ask you something, please go ahead and maybe you can inform people where they can find this interesting product.
Sounds great. No, I appreciate that.
All right. Thank you.
But yeah, it's goldback.com. Sorry. Yeah, goldback.com. You can find places to get goldbacks.
Thank you very much. Hope to speak to you in the future, maybe in a few months, and see how is it going. Maybe you have some new insights and for risk managers and how they can be more kind of better in their jobs to keep money.
Sure. All right. I appreciate your time.